I had an experience back in 2013 that I can't seem to shake off, and I thought this might be the right place to share it. It's one of those stories that'll give you the creeps, and I'm still not sure what really happened that night. Here goes. So, back in the summer of 2013, I was driving home after a party. It was around midnight, and the darkness outside was something else. The radio was off, and all I could hear was the road under my tires and the hum of the engine. I was getting a bit edgy because, nighttime and all that. I glanced in the middle rearview mirror and saw absolutely nothing behind me, just pure darkness. This detail is important because, in less than 10 seconds, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a car with its headlights blaring appeared, overtaking me from the left. My heart skipped a beat, and my body was flooded with adrenaline. I was sure there had been nothing behind me a moment earlier. It didn't make sense. The next morning, I found deep scratches on the back of my van. One set on the left, one on the right. I figured the scratches might have been there for months, but I swear I had seen a flawless rear before that night. Looking back, there are two disturbing possibilities. The first is some kind of glitch in the matrix or even something paranormal, where the car behind me appeared within 10 seconds of my last check of the mirror. But the second one, the one that really gives me chills, didn't even occur to me until much later. The car that passed me might have been completely normal, but there was something else back there with it. Something big, wide, and as dark as the night, clung to the rear of my van. It obscured my view and left those deep scratches on the sides. And I unknowingly drove that thing right back home with me. Freaky, right? What are your thoughts? I experienced something so bizarre and chilling on the 14th of March, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Let me share this creepy tale with you. It all began on my parents' 20th wedding anniversary. The day was beautiful, the sun shining bright, and a surprising warmth lingered in the air, despite it being pre-spring. To celebrate this special occasion, we had reservations at our favorite Italian restaurant, and it was nothing short of a formal affair. I got all dressed up in my finest suit. As I was getting ready, it was around 5:33, and that's when things took a strange turn. My phone buzzed, and I received a text message, which was unusual because I hardly ever got texts. It was from my mom, and the message was a mix of letters and numbers, but the phrase that stood out was, "Please help me." Naturally, I was incredibly worried, so I replied, "Are you okay?" Almost immediately, another text arrived, saying, "Oops." Pocket text. I sighed with relief, thinking it was some weird mistake, and continued getting ready. A few minutes later, I received another message, this time from my dad, with the same jumbled letters and numbers, hiding the phrase, "Please help me." But this time, it wasn't a joke. It was the exact same message from my sister, followed by, "Oops." Pocket text. This couldn't be a coincidence, right? Panic surged through me. I ran towards the restaurant, but my path was blocked by a police officer. The main road was closed due to a massive car crash. It was then that I finally understood what had happened. I insisted on seeing the accident, a request they surprisingly allowed. But it wasn't the wreckage that chilled me to the bone, it was the lifeless bodies of my mother, father, and sister. All three of them had been killed instantly in the collision at 5:32. I'm still trying to make sense of it all. Have any of you ever experienced something this creepy and unexplainable? I have a chilling story for you that began with a pit, the abyss that has always lurked at the back of my life. It is a journey through darkness and despair, and I hope my story serves as a warning to those who may hear its ominous call. I first heard this call during one of my mother's fervent religious readings. She tried to shame me for being a man who loves other men, but her piety only intensified the ominous whispering in the background. But I was undeterred and would not give in to her dogmatic pressure. But this was only the beginning. I understood that my mother's newfound religiosity was a sham, a cover for her toxic behavior. In college, I finally shrugged off her relentless criticism and ventured into my first real relationship. Eric became my partner, but it was only a matter of time before he too revealed his true identity. However, my life went downhill when I returned home after dropping out of engineering. My parents were already in the process of divorcing, and Eric informed me that our relationship was over. I sank into an abyss of despair, trying to find my footing in the world. My dreams of becoming a carpenter were rapidly fading away, and instead I was trapped in a routine office job. Years passed and the hole remained unseen, lurking beneath the surface of my life. I worked long hours trying to make ends meet while the cost of living continued to rise. I first encountered the pit while working remote overtime late at night. As I was working at my desk, the room was getting colder and colder and I felt a strange numbness in my legs. I looked down and there it was, a dark hole in the floor, an abyss of black stone, whispering like a light breeze in a cave. The call of the void came to me, subtly pulling me towards the unknown, but this time I didn't resist. The pit seemed to offer the solace I craved. Before I could finally give up, Eric's call brought me back to reality. He informed me that he had left, leaving me behind. I felt a twinge of rejection, but it was a harsh wake-up call. The pit disappeared, leaving an emptiness in my chest, but it was an emptiness I wasn't ready to fill. The whisper of the pit remained in the background, a ghostly melody reminding me of its presence. It called to me like a siren song I couldn't ignore. That week at work, I was reprimanded for unsatisfactory performance by my supervisor Dennis. I felt the pressure and sank further into despair. In the office toilet, I came face to face with the pit again. I peered into its depths, seduced by the tantalizing unknown. Like a lullaby, it soothed my pain and offered an escape from my problems. I leaned closer, ready to plunge into the abyss, as suddenly my colleague interrupted my thoughts. The pit disappeared, leaving me clinging to my reality. I visited my father in the hospice, trying to hold on to scraps of his fading memory. He had forgotten me, lost in the fog of dementia. Sitting next to him, I thought about the pit, but it was a reminder I wasn't ready to face yet. The pit continued to beckon, and one night I almost gave up. I came home broken and defeated, ready to surrender to its call. I decided to turn to Eric, hoping he would understand me, but I couldn't find the words. Instead, darkness engulfed me, only to be pulled back by a chilling presence. A creepy hand reached out from the pit and grabbed me by the throat in a vice-like grip. It wanted to pull me into its depths, to make me another victim. But I fought back, a shard of glass crippling the monstrous limb. I woke up on the floor of my room, battered, bruised, but alive. The pit was gone, and its call had stopped. It was as if I had escaped its clutches by sheer force of will. I realized that there was a glimmer of hope in life, even in the darkest moments. The sunrise outside my window reminded me that there was more to live for, even if I didn't know what that more was. If you ever hear the call of the pit, please heed my warning. It is a treacherous abyss that cares nothing for you. It offers no salvation, only darkness and despair. I want to tell you that life is worth living, even if it seems like there is no way out. So hang in there and don't let the pit take you over. As I sit here and now, I can feel the sunrise a little brighter than before.